Hello, everybody. I feel it is time for me to do this Q&A because I have been putting it off for a while. Unfortunately, stuff came up, things happened. Memorial Day was hectic. Everything after it was hectic, but may as well get right on it here. Um, all right. So, let's get this started. I have another video that I want to do after this, so I might kind of hurry through this because it's an idea I don't want to lose. Alright, here we go. Is Goku a bad father considering when his son was badly injured, he didn't heal him with the senzu bean and gave half to Krillin who was equal injury? No? No. Really, no. He split it between two people who needed it. Okay. Moving on. Any Batman stories you'd love to see adapted into live action film someday? Oh my. Well, a lot of people want to see a death in the family, and that is a good arc, and it would be an interesting movie choice, but it's one of those things that would take time and everything to build up to, and the way DC's structured right now, I really don't see that working out. Um, uh, Hush would be nice to see, I think. And it would be relatively easy to do. Unfortunately, we can't have the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Rises. Make sure we can't have Nightfall or No Man's Land or the Dark Knight Returns, really, because it kind of aped a little bit off of everything. But then you have the new one, which is really trying to take on the Dark Knight Returns, and yeah. Yeah. Oh, good lord. So honestly, yeah, I'm not. I'd have to see how DC really has themselves structured before I can say. I mean, there's stuff I'd like to see. Sure, and Hush is one of them, but um, I'm also a practical person when it comes to what can and can't be adapted. There could be an arc of a comic I really like, but I know it'll never get adapted because it'd be too hard, or based on the film universe, it just isn't set up for it, etc. Alright. What are your thoughts on the new battle world created by the merging of the 616 and Ultimate Marvel universes? Honestly, how do I say this? It seems somewhat unnecessary. I mean, okay, I'm not one of those persons who's gonna say that Marvel's continuity, was fine the way it was. I'm not gonna be the kind of person who says that, this was completely unwarranted or unneeded. But it just seems the whole battle world thing, and it's kind of overkill. Like, if we're gonna do a universe reboot, and then they're talking about how it's not even gonna be a proper universe reboot. I don't even know. I don't know what Marvel's thinking with that. Honestly, I don't know where they're going with it. It's interesting in theory, but so far the execution's just been kind of blah. But sadly, that's kind of par for the course with Marvel Comics anymore, and DC Comics as well. The state of comic books has really gone downhill, especially since they've been relying more heavily on film to bring in the big bucks. They've been, and then when it comes to the comics, they either try to emulate the movies, or then they start pandering to certain demographics, thinking they'll come in and read because they figure, oh, the ones we have, they won't stop reading. Except that's not the case, because comic readership has been dropping off. And yeah, dropping off, which means that they're losing more people than they're gaining with half this pandering, but they're going to do it anyway because reasons. I don't know. All right. What site has the worst online community? Comicbookmovie.com or IGN? Oh, that's not even a contest. It's comicbookmovie.com. Easily. That place is like friggin' cancer. The only place that's probably worse than comicbookmovie.com, both in terms of staff and online community, is probably Movie Pilot, because that is made up entirely of stupid people. Very, very stupid people. Alright. Thoughts on the upcoming Ant-Man movie? I have none because it doesn't exist. Okay, moving on. How do you decide whether or not a movie is going to be bad or not? Well, you take a look at it. You would take a look at the quality of the acting. You take a look at the dedication and effort put into the sets, the construction, the everything. Production value can kind of clue you in on whether or not a movie had any kind of care or attention put into it. Even low-budget films can have some good production value. So, there's that. Quality of acting. And I know everyone's going to say, well, trailers can be deceiving. Yeah, but nah. The entire point of a trailer is to entice people. And if the best takes and line reads and everything you can put into a trailer sound like line reads and, just really aren't very well performed, then that's not going to bode well for the final cut of the film. Because in the director's opinion, this was probably the best way to get butts in seats, and if it's that lousy, well then there you go. Another cue is music used in the trailer. If it's this really generic sounding, cheap, boom, 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 epic sounding music, be very wary. Just, keep an eye out. Unless you, another way though. Another really important, oh yeah, also if you have like a movie set in medieval times and they start playing rock music in the trailer, that also doesn't bode well. But following productions really is something we've never been able to do in the past. We only ever saw what they were willing to show us. But now in the internet age, in the blogosphere, in the paparazzi age, everyone's got a camera, everyone's got a website, they can report on this stuff. We're not limited to selected sources for information. And yeah, some rumor can get tossed in there too. But at the same time, we also get more, confirmation about things going on in the production of a film. More set photos, more set video. Actors are giving more interviews, which means we're getting more information about the state of the film. And, it's just really nowhere near as hard as it used to be to tell whether or not a movie's going to be good or bad before you see it. Or whether or not you're going to enjoy a movie before you see it. So people really need to stop with that whole, you can't judge it till you paid to see it nonsense, especially since once you paid to see it, they really don't give a crap if you liked it or not. They got your money, and they'll do it again. And of course, you will probably buy that ticket again to see that movie so you can say you've seen it, so you therefore have a right to complain about it according to the internet. But of course, you gave that one money too, and thus the next sequel is greenlit. I like to call this the Transformers effect. Yeah. Alright. What do you think will happen to the MCU after Infinity War? Nobody knows! That's the thing. It's just kind of a big empty void right now. I'm sure Marvel's got something planned, but they're certainly not going to talk about it. Not until the time comes. So, be patient. A lot of people blast the Amazing Spider-Man films for every little deviation, yet praise Raimi for turning Doc Ock into the Lizard, because people are stupid. That's why. Because according to them, the reboot shouldn't have existed in the first place unless it happened with Marvel, so therefore it had no business existing, so therefore everything wrong about it deserved being slammed. Oh yeah, also apparently because if you thought it was a good idea because it was going to be closer to the comics, they decided that closer to the comics means it has to exactly mirror the comics or else the reason for the reboot is no longer justified. So yeah, they get stupid and petty like that. Worst director: Michael Bay, M. Night Shyamalan, Roland Emmerich, Brett Ratner, George Lucas. Well, to be quite frank, the simple answer is M. Night Shyamalan has the Sixth Sense. Roland Emmerich has Stargate and Independence Day. Brett Ratner has Rush Hour. George Lucas, Star Wars Episode 4 and Episode 6. Michael Bay has... yeah, we'll go with Michael Bay. Alright, which Star Wars character is the worst fanboys? Boba Fett, Darth Maul, or General Grievous, and why? I honestly did not know Grievous had fanboys. But I'm going to go with Boba Fett, just because what he did to warrant all these fanboys is kind of small scale, in my opinion. In fact, a lot of them don't even know that he did it. But, really, they just think he's cool because of his outfit and everything and his gear, and he's a bounty hunter, and so therefore he's cool. And if you don't think so, well, then yeah, I don't know. In my experience, they're the hardest to deal with. Do you believe in cryptids like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Jersey Devil? I'm alright. I'm gonna qualify this answer. I believe that there are certain creatures out there that do not match anything that we have seen before. Do I necessarily think they're these mystical creatures or monsters or what have you? No. The Loch Ness Monster, for example, I'm not even sure why people call it a monster, as it would frankly be a prehistoric aquatic lizard, a reptile. But I think there's a chance that that could exist. I do. Um, Bigfoot could be a previously thought to be extinct species of ape. Um, I don't know. I mean, that possibility exists, I guess. Um, Jersey Devil, I honestly haven't really read up about that thing, but I'm not sure that that exists. I do genuinely believe that Chupacabra exists, but all this stuff about it being an alien or some sort of demon, nah. If anything, it'd be like some sort of weird, barely surviving species out there in the desert somewhere, and we just haven't really discovered them yet. But I mean, I've seen a lot of evidence that suggests that something that operates along those lines exists. So some of it, I mean, it's within the realm of possibility, but I'm not going to say they exist for sure because we have absolutely no concrete evidence that they do. All right, so have you ever considered writing for Hollywood films because you seem like you'd be good at it? I've considered it, but honestly, my biggest problem with writing is scripting. I cannot write a script to save my life. Everything I write turns out to be kind of novel-esque. Um, so I mean, I could write a story, I suppose, that someone could adapt into a script, but I don't think I could write a script. So there's that. In your opinion, what are the best sites to go to for movie, TV, and or video games? Okay, I'm guessing you mean news, right? And not like buying. Okay, if we're talking about movies. For movie and TV news, I mean, coming soon. The coming soon and superhero hype. They kind of hype everything and yet don't. I mean, they're fairly neutral in their reporting. they just tell you when they have new stuff here or there. The only case where you could really run into bias is probably reviews, but reviews are also based in preference, so that's normal. Um, I mean, they've been mostly unbiased in their reporting. Cinema Blend can be. It depends on who's writing. But they're fairly decent. Video game news. Shoot. I like DualShockers. They've been mostly fair, though they can, waffle at times. Gaming Blend again depends on who's writing. But really, just kinda look around is all I can really recommend. Um, Oddly enough, an interesting place to go to for video game reviews is a website called Christ Centered Gamer. And I know that sounds weird, but here's why. They actually have a pretty unique and frankly remarkably objective system where they will actually review a game and they will review it and give it a morality score based on their belief system, but at the same time, they will give it a separate score based on how it performs as a game itself. So, they're not going to sit there and say, oh my gosh, Grand Theft Auto is terrible because, you can beat up prostitutes and you can hire prostitutes. No. I mean, they might say that in the one review, but in terms of the game's overall quality, that is rated as independent of that. So, that's a pretty cool site. The problem is it's very small. So, I mean, it's a very small website, and they really have. I think it's only run by like one or two people, and games do cost money, and it's a small site, so it's one of those things where they're not going to be able to review everything. But what they do review, they give some pretty objective reviews. Another interesting place for video game news is Niche Gamer, which they actually cover a lot of games that a lot of other people won't cover, like especially niche titles, Japanese titles, anime games, visual novels, etc. So they're pretty cool too. Just a heads up, some of the stuff that they include in their coverage does include adult games, sometimes with screenshots. So just if you have youngins around, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You'll be fine. I mean, it is called Niche Gamer, and that is a niche. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Spider-Man casting news, and who do you think should play him? Well, we haven't really gotten any casting news. We've heard rumors of who it's boiling down to, but we have nothing concrete as of yet. So, I mean, we'll have to see. Who do I think should get it though? I mean, I was a proponent of David Henry, honestly. But then they're like, no, we're going for younger, like 16 years old, and in that case, I kind of like the idea of Bill Younger. He really wanted the part too. And I mean, the guy, he's another Spider-Man mega fan from his childhood. Used to wear the Spider-Man costume and do like poses in it and everything. Extremely flexible. He's a martial artist. He's a gymnast. And some of the poses he's been able to pull off have been basically Spider-Man poses. I mean, there was even one where he was upside down on a ladder, holding himself up on, with his arm, with his feet flat on the wall. It looked like a friggin' Spider-Man pose. I mean, the guy is honestly a pretty good fit in terms of that, and he can act pretty well. He, definitely is passable as a high school kid. Um, he can be pretty comedic. Uh, so I mean, it's just he. I think he could handle the role, you know, and I think he could definitely have that kind of weight. But I honestly kind of doubt he'll get it. So I don't know. I want to believe I do. So I really do think he'd be good for the part. But we'll have to see what Marvel does, I guess. I can't really comment on that until they announce something. Thoughts on the Superman versus Goku debate? Well, it really boils down to which Superman and exactly how are you going to try to gimp Goku this time. I've seen some really, really, really stupid handicaps given to Goku without any kind of real merit when it comes to these arguments, so I don't know. And there's also the fact that, Superman has multiple incarnations, which is also why some of the fanboys think that, he wins no matter what, because it's like, even if he managed to beat this one exists. It's like, that's got nothing to do with anything. I don't know. It's just really, really stupid. And a lot of it, too, boils down to less actually giving a crap and more about, showing those quote-unquote weeaboos their proper place. It's stupid. It really is. Absolute worst movie you've ever seen? Oh, boy. Well, that depends. I mean, some of them have been absolutely god-awful, like Birdemic, but that one falls into the so bad it's good category. It's unintentionally hilarious. Which is also why the second one isn't nearly as enjoyable, because it tries to be so bad it's hilarious, and it just doesn't do a good job of it. I mean, the reason the last one was because it was intentional, or unintentional. But, I'm honestly going to say, I mean, if we're going by, like, Hollywood productions, honestly, I'm still sticking with Dragon Ball Evolution. Genuinely the worst movie I've seen. Though that Ninja Turtles movie does give it a run for its money. Okay, what's your opinion on Joss Whedon calling that Jurassic World clip 70s era sexist? Do you think it upon her is just being an SJW a-hole? The latter. Really, I mean, she is a female character, and yeah, she's a scientist and a businesswoman, so she's going to be a bit of a stiff. And he's more, out there working, and yeah, he's a little bit pig-headed as a result, which is why he's kind of making some somewhat inappropriate comments. But that's because these are two different people who come from two very different walks of life. I mean, he's not doing it either. And the things that he does say to her, I suppose it might be some of what they're referring to, but you also have to understand that he knows that she's really kind of uptight and he's intentionally trying to mess with her. And she kind of knows it too. And I don't know, it's just really stupid, though, to try to call that sexist. Because it's just really not. I mean, especially the chief reason being apparently that Chris Pratt's character came off as more likable in that clip than Bryce Dallas Howard's character, therefore it is sexist and slanted toward men. That is simply not the case. Let's see here. Regarding your fandom discourse sucks video, how do you think we can go about improving said discourse? I really don't know if we can anymore. I think the only thing we can do is just kind of cut off the people who are stupid, really. We need to go about forming, alternate communities. We need to go about forming some of our own forums, maybe. I don't know. And, try to discuss things civilly if that's possible. I'd like to think it is, but I just don't know. Another thing is to, really just stop the insults. Realize that not everybody who likes something likes it because, they are some sort of nerd or some sort of fanboy. Not everyone who doesn't like something doesn't like it over nostalgia or doesn't like it over, and maybe even listen to some of their criticisms and not just wave them off as, oh, you're just a hater. Discuss these things. That's what discourse is about. Once upon a time, even if people didn't like I mean, you look at the old stereotypical nerd arguments. Even though they don't agree with each other, they get along, and they just kind of accept that they don't agree with each other, and they will argue about this point a few times. But at the same time, that they at least hear out the other person's argument and then offer a counterpoint. They don't just say, "Oh, you're just a hater. You're just a hater." That kind of thing. It's just, I don't know. We really need to. It's going to be a long, hard road to fix all that. Favorite Star Wars character, Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I know it sounds really generic, but I love the guy. What can I say? He was pretty freaking cool. What do you hate more? One More Day or Superior Spider-Man? One More Day, easily. Worst decision ever made in comic book history, and I will stand by that. What are your thoughts on the female Thor and Sam Wilson's Captain America? Sam as Cap has happened before, so I'm not sure why people are acting like this is new or revolutionary. When Captain America was presumed dead for a while, he stepped into the role, filled his shoes, was Captain America until Steve came back. So, it's kind of cool seeing him as Cap again, I guess. I really would like to have Steve back eventually, because I like that Sam had his own identity as the Falcon, but, for now it's okay, and it makes sense. It's not just, a change for the sake of a change, it's a change that makes logical sense. The female Thor has been horribly written, horribly handled, and basically a horrible idea. The very fact that she somehow literally takes Thor's name away from him, even not just his power, his name. She literally becomes Thor. That's not how it works. It demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of the character on the part of the series writer, and honestly, that kind of shows through too. He set out to make this character a woman, and he set out to. He even misquoted what was inscribed on Mjolnir and everything. It's honestly just a big old feminist marketing ploy, and she turned out to be very unpopular, especially when she, beat on the Absorbing Man for using feminism like a dirty word, and for robbing. As if that's the secondary reason she hauled off and decked him. But then, I mean, her numbers have like really drastically fallen too, and now they finally reveal who she is, and you find out, oh, it's Jane Foster, the chick that dated Thor for God knows how long, and then you find out, oh, hey, they gave her breast cancer, which is killing her, which apparently is what made her worthy to lift the hammer, but the powers are also killing her faster, I guess. It's like a really, really weird and kind of lousy attempt at trying to gain sympathy for the character and make you feel bad for hating on her. And it's not the first time that Marvel has resorted to this, honestly. It's happened before where a character will be just so hated and everything, and then they go like way over the top to try to, slap back at people who criticized. And what do you think of Miles Morales? I don't. Next question. Xbox or PlayStation? I am a PlayStation gamer, a PC gamer, and occasionally some Nintendo stuff. Though I have been very disappointed with Nintendo's business practices as of late. Alright, in your opinion, what's the best movie Marvel's ever made? Worst they've made? Best movie DC's made? Worst they've made? Best movie Marvel's made so far has been Winter Soldier. Worst movie that they've made so far? Probably probably Iron Man 2 or Thor. I'd say Iron Man 3 personally, because I really hate the changes they tried to make there. And even they had to admit they kind of goofed, which is why they retconned with that short film. Best movie DC has ever made? Oh, good lord. It's either Batman Begins or Man of Steel. Worst movie DC's ever made? Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin. Followed by probably Green Lantern and The Dark Knight Rises. Okay. For what reason should a movie ever be remade? There are very few reasons to honestly remake a film. The only real reasons are to either update it for a modern audience in instances where it really does not resonate anymore, or to, take like an older movie that maybe didn't do so good, redo it, try to make it better. I'm a big advocate of Hollywood. If they want to remake stuff so bad, why not take some of those really old crappy B movies, take the plot, rework it, add some good effects, and boom, there you go. You got yourself a movie, and it'll probably sell, and it'll be better than the original. No, nobody's gonna have nostalgia goggles for Plan 9, for crying out loud. The whole reason people have fond memories of it is because it's a joke. But yeah, basically those things. And the thing is, though, that the concept of, updating it for a more modern audience can be abused and is open to some interpretation, I suppose. Alright, number 3, do you think The Incredible Hulk deserves a sequel? Yes, but not with Mark Ruffalo, so no. Joker versus Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, who wins? Norman Osborn wins, because Norman Osborn is not only sadistic and insane, but has superpowers. Genuine superpowers. So, yeah. I'm gonna go with the Goblin. Alright, that is it for all the questions this time around. This is actually kind of fun. Might do these a little more frequently in the future. But that's it for me, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.